Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rose in this House a couple of weeks ago in the wake of the terrible news out of southwestern Ontario that 1,200 workers at the Carney plant in Ingersoll were losing their jobs because of a failure by this government to fulfill a promise to stand up for and save Canada's auto sector. Now, Carney is not in my riding, but many of the workers of that plant do live in my riding, in St. Thomas, in London, in Elgin County. Several of the companies that supply Carney are in my riding. So when we hear that 1,200 figure of the plant workers, that is just a fraction of the overall jobs in jeopardy across the region, not just from the Carney closure, but other declines in the auto sector as well, from Qualtech Seating Systems in London to Format in St. Thomas, Delta Machine and Design, all of these dealing with slowdowns or in some cases outright halting as a result of the decline in the auto sector. Now, I do not blame the government for decisions made by the United States, but I do put blame squarely on the Prime Minister for making a promise I'm not even sure if he knew, or I'm not even sure if he believed. And that was a very simple promise, that Canada would have a deal with the United States by July. There is no deal. We've seen tariffs go up continuously. There is no deal, and auto jobs have continued to be on the line. The state of the manufacturing sector right now in southwestern Ontario, in my riding, is dismal. And just to run off a few of the numbers that constitute this Liberal government's record, we don't just have the 1,200 workers in Ingersoll, we have 3,000 in Brampton with Stellantis, we have 700 in Oshawa, 300 in Sainte-Thérèse, Quebec with Packer, and countless more, as I said, with the spin-off effects of this. Now, I have had conversations with constituents in the last couple of weeks who do not know what they're going to do, who do not know how they're going to provide Christmas presents for their children with the holidays approaching because of these job losses, because of this uncertainty. Now, when I asked the government about this, I asked for a plan. And instead, the parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Industry got up and gave the Liberal government a pat on the back, said they were doing an exceptional job. An exceptional job. Those numbers that I ran off, that was just a few weeks of what the Liberal government trumpets as exceptional work on protecting the auto sector in Canada. So my question is very simple, Mr. Speaker. When this government and this Prime Minister promised a deal, did he actually believe it?
Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Alors, je suis heureux de répondre aux...
I would like to respond to the comments of my colleague with regards to the automotive sector in Canada. This industry has an essential role in Canada's economy, contributing $16 billion in economic activity in 2024. There are more than 125,000 direct jobs and supports hundreds of thousands of other jobs throughout the country, but especially in southern Ontario. Mr. Speaker, the automobile industry is one of the biggest manufacturing industries in Canada, and unjust tariffs and arbitrary tariffs from the states increase costs and threaten excellent jobs. Our government recognizes the challenges that these tariffs pose, and we have adopted support measures and a proportionate response. We have reacted by having countervailing duties of 25% on vehicles coming from the States. We've also implemented a framework to protect the industry as a whole. This allows manufacturers who keep their investments in Canada to import certain vehicles made in the US without tariffs. Pursuant to the USMCA, we also invest in Canadian companies in order to help them to adapt to these challenges and to build the basis of a future growth. We'll be creating a strategic fund, $5 billion to key sectors, with a priority for those that have been heavily affected and are heavily exposed to tariffs. So the automotive sector, for example. We will support the industry and other industries by supporting retooling and by allowing Canadian companies to extend and conquer new markets. We will also remember current companies that are helping us and that continue to believe in Canada, and companies that do not believe in Canada. We will remember them. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do sincerely appreciate my colleagues' understanding of the significance of the automotive sector in Southern Ontario. Virtually every family has someone who has been touched by that sector, but there is not a positive outlook right now. And I don't think the people affected, from the conversations I've had, want to hear about supports. They want to hear a plan for how they can get to work, how they can do what they love, and why this government has not lived up to its promise to protect these jobs in the first place. So I will ask the Parliamentary Secretary a very simple question. 3,000 workers in Brampton, 1,200 in Ingersoll, 700 in Oshawa, 300 in St. Therese, all jobs lost on the Liberal government's watch in the span of a few weeks. Does he still think that is an exceptional job by this Prime Minister?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I again highlight the fact that this was started by the United States. The position the industry finds itself in comes directly the result of the trade war triggered by the United States. We have said time and time again that we are ready and willing to negotiate an agreement with the United States, and we are still waiting for them to join the table so we can negotiate. But we will not sign just about anything. We want a deal that works profitably for all Canadians and that assures some much-needed long-term planning. When the Americans are ready, we are also ready to talk to them.
Here, here.